History hides a strange pattern. The people who saw too clearly were rarely celebrated while they were alive. They were mocked, ignored, silenced. Not because they were wrong, but because they were uncomfortable to be around. Think about it. When someone speaks with depth, when their words cut through illusions you rely on, something tightens inside you. Not admiration, not curiosity, resistance. That reaction is not new. It's ancient. Socrates was called corruptive. Galileo Galilei was ridiculed and threatened. Nikola Tesla died dismissed while louder, simpler men took the spotlight. And according to Arthur Schopenhauer, this wasn't coincidence. It was psychology. Schopenhauer believed intelligence is not just an advantage, it's a curse. Because intelligence strips away comforting lies. It exposes motives. It reveals how shallow many beliefs truly are. And when you do that, you become a mirror. A mirror people never asked to look into. This is what Schopenhauer understood deeply. Most people don't hate intelligent individuals. They hate what those individuals reflect back to them. Their ignorance, their contradictions, their borrowed opinions. So instead of questioning themselves, they attack the mirror. You've felt this if you've ever noticed people shutting down when you speak honestly. If conversations suddenly become hostile. If your calm logic is met with sarcasm, jokes, or dismissal. That's not debate. That's self-preservation. When someone encounters a mind sharper than theirs, their psyche interprets it as a threat. Not to knowledge, but to identity. Because intelligence doesn't just challenge ideas, it challenges status. And status is sacred. This is why society often prefers confidence over competence, volume over clarity, certainty over truth. A confident fool feels safe. A thoughtful mind feels dangerous. Schopenhauer wrote that most humans are driven not by truth, but by comfort, by what allows them to move through life without friction. And intelligence creates friction. It slows things down. It asks why. It refuses easy answers, so society reacts the only way it knows how, by pushing it away, by labeling it arrogant, overthinking, negative. But here's the disturbing part. The smarter you are, the more invisible this rejection becomes. No riots, no open hatred, just subtle exclusion, silence, distance, and by the time you realize what's happening, you're already standing alone. And here's the part most people never realize. The rejection of intelligence isn't learned. It isn't cultural. It isn't personal. It's biological. Your mind reacts to sharp intelligence the same way it reacts to danger, automatically, defensively, without permission. Which means the resistance you face isn't an accident. It's a reflex. And once you understand what that reflex is, you stop trying to be accepted by people who are wired to resist you. And that's where things get uncomfortable. When someone encounters a mind that operates above their own level, the reaction isn't rational. It's not philosophical. It's neurological. Your brain does not ask, is this person right? It asks, am I safe? Modern neuroscience shows that perceived intellectual inferiority can activate the amygdala, the same region responsible for fear, threat detection, and survival responses. The mind reacts to sharp intelligence the way it reacts to danger. Fight, dismiss, withdraw. That's why logic often fails in conversations that matter most. Because once fear is activated, reason shuts down. This explains a strange social phenomenon you've likely witnessed. The most intelligent person in the room is rarely the most influential. The most confident one is. Confidence feels predictable. Predictability feels safe. Intelligence, on the other hand, introduces uncertainty. It questions assumptions. It destabilizes narratives people rely on to function. And instability feels like threat. This is why charismatic simplicity often wins over thoughtful complexity. Why slogans beat arguments. Why loud certainty outperforms quiet depth. According to Schopenhauer, most people do not seek truth. They seek psychological equilibrium. Anything that disturbs that balance is treated as an enemy. This fear intensifies in groups. A study from Stanford University found that rejection of intellectually threatening individuals spikes in social settings. Not because people suddenly become cruel, but because status anxiety emerges. In groups, intelligence becomes a social weapon. If one person thinks more clearly, others fear being exposed as average, ignorant, or replaceable. So the group unconsciously unites against the perceived threat, not through violence, through exclusion, sarcasm, mockery, silence. This is where intelligence becomes lonely, because you're no longer being judged by what you say, but by what your presence implies, that others might not be enough. Psychologists call this defensive devaluation, when people downplay the value of what threatens their self-image. Suddenly, your insights are overthinking. Your depth is negativity. Your clarity is arrogance. Not because it's true, but because it protects them. And Schopenhauer saw this long before brain scans and studies existed. He understood that humans are driven by the will, an unconscious force that prioritizes survival, comfort, and dominance over truth. So when intelligence interferes with the will's comfort, it must be neutralized. This is why explaining yourself rarely works, why proving your point often backfires, why being right can make you more isolated, not more respected. Because fear doesn't listen, it reacts. And here's the part that changes everything. Once you understand that resistance to intelligence is automatic, not personal, you stop internalizing the rejection. You stop trying to lower yourself to be accepted. You stop arguing with people who are defending their identity, not their ideas. And that's when intelligence stops being a burden and becomes a weapon you know how to wield. Society doesn't reject intelligence because it's rare. It rejects it because most minds are not built to recognize it. And this is where things become disturbing. One of the most powerful psychological traps shaping human behavior is what psychologists call the Dunning-Kruger effect. In simple terms, the less someone knows, the more confident they feel. And the more someone knows, the more aware they become of what they don't know. This creates a brutal inversion. The ignorant feel certain, the intelligent feel cautious. And society mistakes certainty for competence. Schopenhauer understood this instinctively. He wrote that average minds crave conclusions, not complexity. They want answers that feel complete, even if they're false. Depth threatens that illusion, because depth introduces nuance, and nuance creates discomfort. Another trap is status quo bias, the mind's tendency to defend existing beliefs simply because they're familiar. Truth doesn't win by being accurate, it wins by being convenient. This is why new ideas are resisted first, mocked second, and accepted last. Not because they're wrong, but because they demand mental effort, and effort feels like loss. Then there's the backfire effect. When you present someone with evidence that contradicts their beliefs, their mind doesn't open, it fortifies. They double down. They become more attached to the belief under threat. So the smarter and clearer your argument becomes, the more resistance you face. This is why debates often go nowhere. Why facts fail, why intelligence feels like shouting into a void, because you're not speaking to curiosity, you're speaking to defense mechanisms. Now combine this with the modern world. Social media platforms are not designed to reward depth. They reward emotion, outrage, certainty, speed. Algorithms don't amplify what's true. They amplify what engages. And nothing engages like simple narratives with clear villains and heroes. Nuance dies there. So intelligent voices are drowned out by louder, simpler ones. Thoughtful explanations lose to viral sound bites, and those who think deeply are labeled boring, elitist, or irrelevant. Schopenhauer would have seen this as inevitable. He believed the masses are governed by appearances, not essence. By what feels good now, not what holds up under reflection. Which means intelligence becomes a liability in a world addicted to stimulation. And here's the cruel paradox. The more clearly you see this system, the harder it becomes to participate in it. You start noticing how conversations avoid depth, how people repeat opinions they've never examined, how certainty replaces understanding. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. This is where many intelligent people make a mistake. They assume resistance means they're failing, that they should explain better, speak louder, simplify more. But Schopenhauer warned against this. He believed wisdom isn't about convincing the masses. It's about choosing where your energy goes, because not every mind is capable of meeting you where you stand, and trying to drag them there will only exhaust you. At some point, every intelligent person reaches a breaking realization. Society is not built for truth. It is built for continuity, for routine, for comfort, for the quiet agreement to not look too closely. This is where Arthur Schopenhauer becomes brutally honest. He argued that beneath reason lies something far stronger, the will. Not free will, not moral will, but a blind, unconscious drive to preserve oneself, one's status, one's beliefs, and one's place in the social order. Truth is secondary, and intelligence, when it sees clearly, develops something dangerous, a will to truth. This creates a fracture, because once you care about truth more than comfort, you no longer move in sync with society. You hesitate where others rush. You question where others repeat. You withdraw where others perform. And this makes you look strange, not aggressive, not rebellious, just out of place. Schopenhauer believed this is why intelligent people often feel alienated without knowing why. It's not arrogance, it's misalignment. The crowd is moving toward pleasure, validation, and ease. The thinking mind is moving toward clarity, coherence, and meaning. Those paths rarely overlap, so society responds with pressure. Be more normal. Stop thinking so much. Don't take things so seriously. What they're really saying is, return to the rhythm of the group. But here's the quiet danger. If you surrender your depth to belong, you don't gain peace. You gain self-betrayal. You start editing your thoughts, softening your insights, pretending not to see what you clearly see. And over time, that dulls something vital. Schopenhauer warned that this internal compromise leads to resentment, not toward others, but toward yourself. Because deep down, you know you abandoned clarity for acceptance. This is why many intelligent people oscillate between two extremes: isolation and exhaustion. Either they withdraw completely to protect their inner world, or they engage constantly and feel drained, misunderstood, and unseen. Neither is sustainable. So what's the alternative? Schopenhauer didn't advocate total withdrawal from society. He advocated selective engagement, knowing when to speak, and when silence preserves more power than words, knowing who can hear you and who never will. Knowing that not every truth needs an audience. Wisdom, in his view, is not shouting clarity into chaos. It's guarding it. This is the moment where intelligence matures. You stop measuring your worth by recognition. You stop mistaking misunderstanding for failure. You stop trying to wake people who are pretending to sleep. And something changes. You begin to move through society without needing its approval, not bitter, not superior, just independent. Because the goal was never to be accepted by the many. It was to remain intact. And once you grasp that, the final illusion collapses. The belief that society will ever reward deep thinkers while they are alive. There is a kind of illusion intelligent people must confront. The belief that if they just wait long enough, society will eventually understand them. History suggests otherwise. Society does not reward deep thinkers in real time. It rewards them after they are no longer threatening, when their ideas can no longer disrupt power, when their presence can no longer expose mediocrity, when their clarity can no longer unsettle the comfortable. Only then do statues appear. Galileo Galilei was condemned while alive, celebrated centuries later. Vincent van Gogh died ignored, worshipped after death. Nikola Tesla was dismissed as impractical, then quietly used to power the modern world. The pattern is brutal but consistent. When intelligence challenges the present, it is rejected. When it becomes harmless to the present, it is admired. This is why truly intelligent individuals feel a strange temporal displacement, like they belong to a future that hasn't arrived yet. But some never lived to see it. Alan Turing helped save millions through his work, yet was persecuted for his personal life. Hypatia of Alexandria was brutally murdered for representing knowledge that threatened power structures. These weren't failures of intelligence. They were successes that arrived too early. Schopenhauer understood this cruel timing. He wrote that truth passes through 3 stages: ridicule, opposition, and finally acceptance. But acceptance often comes when the thinker is no longer there to receive it, which leads to a sobering realization. If you are intelligent, society is not your audience, at least not now. And that doesn't mean you withdraw in bitterness. It means you recalibrate your expectations. You stop seeking validation from crowds that are wired for comfort. You stop measuring impact by applause. You stop confusing visibility with value. Instead, you focus on something far more important: integrity. You speak when it matters. You build quietly. You choose your circles carefully. You understand that being misunderstood is not a flaw. It is often the cost of seeing clearly in a world that prefers blur. And perhaps the most liberating insight of all is this: you are not here to be liked. You are not here to be celebrated. You are not even here to be understood by everyone. You are here to see clearly and to live without betraying that clarity. History will do what it always does. It will arrive late, apologize quietly, and move on. Your task is simpler and harder. Remain honest in a dishonest age. Remain thoughtful in a noisy world. Remain intact in a society that fears depth, because intelligence was never meant to make you popular. It was meant to make you free.